Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, we're going to talk today about building resilience with a can-do attitude. I'm Liz. I'm with an organization called Young and Healthy, and I'm just thrilled to be able to offer these opportunities for us all to come together and learn from one another. Um, I always say that maybe I can give you some ideas. I can give you the research. I can give you some child development practices, sound practices. However, you're the expert on your family. So incorporate this into your family in the best way that you feel, right? Some of the stuff I say may not be the way you would say it, or some of the stuff I teach you, you might go, yeah, that doesn't really fit into my family, but that's okay. Figure out what works for you because you are the expert on your family. I want to start off that way today. I am with an sorry, stumbling on my words here. I'm going to put a link to our sign-in sheet in the chat box. You will see that there. All you need to do is go to that link and it will guide you through completing the sign-in sheet. The course number that you need is 3047. So while you're doing that, I'll give you a short introduction on Young and Healthy. I laugh because I'm not sure anything I do is ever short. So Young and Healthy is a 31-year-old nonprofit organization in Pasadena that provides direct healthcare services to children through a network of all volunteer medical professionals. So we partner with a number, about 375 medical professionals of all kinds, eyeglasses, dentistry, orthopedics, pediatrics, podiatry, you name it, we've got a specialist. And what we do is we connect families with these doctors, with these providers who will provide the service that the child needs at absolutely no charge to anyone. They don't charge Young and Healthy. They don't charge the family. It is all donated services. And we've been doing that for the 31 years. And then a number of years ago with the, when California Care came onto the, into our lives, we have an expert on staff who helps families to enroll in the insurance that matches best with their family. So that meets the needs that they qualify for. And then he's amazing at supporting families through using it. We just making sure that they understand how to access the care, understand when they get something in the mail perhaps, or if there's a lapse in their services, he's there to make sure that he's helping families through that. And then trauma-informed care, mindfulness, and parent education are all part of our healthcare prevention programs, like our dental education. Our first grade dental education is a prevention program. And what we've learned is that when we are healthy emotionally and mentally, it has a great impact on our physical health. The two are incredibly connected. And so one of the ways that we help families to build protective factors and to be as healthy and as they can be, the healthiest family that you can be, is we've been providing the parent education classes for a number of years now, as well as our mindfulness and our trauma-informed care. And again, just happy to be able to partner with Parent University and provide these services. So things are different for all of us. We're all trying to figure out how to do our job and do school and do things differently. And so we are also, one of the things that it came to our attention was that there is an earned income tax credit that a lot of families were not accessing when they filed their, yes, Virginia, you can invite anyone to come. Sorry. So we're helping families to file their income taxes so that they can access the earned income tax credit. And because we know that kind of stress that can be relieved through having that money will reduces family stress and improves family health, right? And when you reduce family stress, families can focus on what's going on in the family rather than worrying about how they're going to pay their rent or their electric bill. And so while tax season is quickly coming to an end here, I think we've just got a few days. If you haven't filed and you need help filing, please you can reach out to Young and Healthy. Okay, so I want to go back and say that Virginia asked if the workshops are open to anyone. Can I invite anyone to attend? And the answer to that is yes, all caps, yes. anyone can join us. So we've been talking about resilience because resilience is one of those things that we've all been tapping into during the last, 15 months now or so, during the pandemic. And we've talked a lot about resilience and this adaptive response in the face of adversity. And the fact of the matter is that once we have returned to whatever our new normal might look like, and the immediate threat of this pandemic is over, we're still going to need resilience, right? Building resilience during this time is actually something great that we are giving to our kids because they're going to face adversity. We don't know what kind necessarily, but I don't know anybody who has not had to navigate detours, who has had to navigate speed bumps, right? Or twists and turns that we didn't expect, things we don't anticipate. So building this skill of resilience is a lifelong tool, right? That you all use. And we've been talking about 6 different tenets, 6 different aspects of resilience. We've covered optimism, which is thinking positively, right? Believing that things can and will get better. Emotional awareness and control, being able to identify what we're feeling, being able to talk about what our emotions, being able to talk and identify when we feel something physically, and then controlling our actions around our emotions, right? So we don't react, that we're responding. And that is what we call impulse control, right? Impulse control is just being able to slow down so that when you are experiencing something, when you are feeling something, you don't just react off the top really quickly. You are thoughtful and responsive rather than reactive. Really hard skill. Flexible and accurate thinking, we talked about last week, which is the ability to say, all right, things are I'm getting thrown a curveball here, but I'm going to figure out how to change my grip so that I can hit it out of the park. Just came up with that. Right. So we're going to, so that being able then to also, if we hear something or learn of something, that we can check it, fact check it for ourselves, right? And then today we're going to talk about self-efficacy, which is having a can-do attitude, right? It is having agency, which is the belief that you have power to take actions that impact your immediate environment. Maybe I can't go out and change the world, right? I can't go out and, at least not, without taking one step at a time. I can't change necessarily that we're in a pandemic, right? We're experiencing a pandemic, but I can control. I have power over how I handle it. I have power over how what I do impacts my immediate environment. And one of the ways that we can talk about self-efficacy and agency is growth mindset. Maybe you've heard of growth mindset. It's become kind of a buzz topic, I would say, over the last number of years. And growth mindset is the belief that with patience, practice, and perseverance, we have limitless potential to grow and learn, versus a fixed mindset, which is the belief that people are born the way they're going to be, and you have a limited amount of intelligence and ability, and that's all that's going to happen. How many of you, maybe I'm a little older than some of you, but IQ tests were a big thing when I was a younger person. And all the schools were like, oh, we got to give the kids an IQ test so that we can figure out what their ability is. And what we now know to be true is that our ability is limitless. We can all learn anything. Our intelligence is not fixed. Growth, I love this graphic, right? I can learn to do almost just about anything I want, right? I can learn to do it. Versus I don't like to be challenged. I'm going to stick with what I know. I'm not going to come out of my box. Or I like to try new things. I have enthusiasm around challenges. So and my effort and attitude determine my abilities. This is growth mindset. This chart the graphic actually comes from a resource that I'll show you all a little bit later, but it's biglifejournal.com. And they have a lot of really great resources that are kind of really nice, like that look like this, right? They're aesthetically pleasing, and so that you can learn how to talk to kids about growth mindset. They'll learn how to start conversations. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and how we can instill growth mindset in our families. But this is right, an opportunity to grow versus, nope, this is all I can do. One of the examples I like to use the most is math. How many of you decided at one point in your life, I'm bad at math, right? I know a lot of people. Or when I say, okay, let's talk about math, people get nervous, right? Oh my gosh, gives me, just thinking about math gives me anxiety, right? But if we think about it differently, we can all figure it out, right? That's a learned kind of response to math, to the big math thing, versus, all right, maybe I'm not great at math right now, but I can learn. And so that's the difference between growth mindset and fixed mindset. We also have this new knowledge that our thoughts determine our feelings and behavior. We used to think it was the reverse, right? We used to think that our feelings and our behavior determine our thoughts, and which is absolutely not true. The way we choose to think, and it is a choice, determines how we respond to our environment, what our feelings, what our behavior is. Virginia says teens have a fixed mindset. They can. Teens can have a fixed mindset. That the Big Life Journal is really directed. There's a whole teen section so that you can talk to your kids about what it means to have a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset, and start to encourage them to have more of a growth mindset. Why do you think that teens have a fixed mindset? Why would our teens have a fixed mindset? Anybody have an idea, thought?
I do.
Okay, tell me.
Because what I came to realize is that my teen is teaching me what's right and what's wrong. And all in a sudden, we have a child that has a lot of knowledge to share, and they are strong in their views. So there is a challenge for a parent like me to navigate that challenge, because I know he's right, because he says he's right. So it's an interesting stage in a person's life. I don't remember going through that, and I'm laughing, but it's true. I don't remember, but I'm not a boy. I'm a girl, so I don't know. So that's just a thought, okay?
Just a thought, absolutely. And I think you're on the right track there, right? Part of it is they've come to a place in their lives when they know everything. It's universal with teens. They come to that place where they know it and they don't want to be challenged on it, right? Why they do that, though, is because they are trying to establish themselves as an individual. The teenage years are the time when our children are saying, I'm independent of my mom and dad, and I want to challenge their thinking so that I can develop my own thinking, my own thoughts, right? And unfortunately, you can't always challenge someone else's, you can't always develop your own thoughts without challenging someone else's thinking, okay? The other thing is, the reason some teens have a fixed mindset is because the teenage years are a time of great self-awareness, which often results in feeling uncomfortable, right, in their skin, in their body. And then as a result, they're a little bit more afraid to try new things, right? People are watching me. What if I do it wrong? They'll make fun of me. I'll look stupid. So they have a tendency to stay in that fixed mindset because it's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to take risks. And so I think that's partly why we see that teens can often come across as they have a growth mindset. The good news is it's a stage, they come out of it, and they'll learn from it, right? We need them to do that. We need them to develop their own thinking, right? Because we don't want them to stay with us. We don't want them to be 35 and living in our house because they can't manage the world on their own. So they need to go through that stage. And how beautiful that we get the opportunity to have them go through that stage while they're in our home, right? While they're with us, while we can still kind of direct and maybe give them a little nudge onto the right path every now and again. Because one of the things that we are doing is building our brains, right? They're building their brains. Remember that prefrontal cortex, that very sophisticated part of our brain, is the part of our brain that develops last. So they are working, they're brain builders. And what they need to understand is that they can choose, they can control the way their brain is wired. The teen years are also a time when we start the pruning process. So we're developing all these neurons, and we're going to talk more about neurons in a minute, but we're developing all these neurons, and if we're not using them, it gets kind of crowded in there. And so our brain goes, okay, I don't need this one, I don't need that one. But we don't want our kids to prune the things that, you know, we don't, how do I say it? We want them to hold on to the things and develop the things that they choose to develop, right? We don't want them to let go of all of those neurons as we go through this pruning process. The parts of our brain talk to each other. I know you guys know I talk about the brain all the time. The parts of our brain talk to each other. We can't use our cerebrum unless we are, right, unless our midbrain is calm, we feel connected, and we know that we can access that thinking, learning part of our brain. And we can't get up to our prefrontal cortex unless we go through our cerebrum. So they all work together. They work together, they talk to each other. And so when we talk to ourselves, we're building neurons. When we engage in a certain kind of thinking, we're learning, right, to navigate, and we're developing the way we think. So what are some examples of fixed mindset? One of them is, I can't do this, right? Nope, I can't, not even gonna try. What happens when we say I can't do it? We don't even try. I just can't decide it. And that's a way we think. I hear this a lot, our kids say, well, I'm just too dumb to do that. I'm not smart enough. When we decide we're not smart enough, we don't try. We don't take appropriate risks. There's just no use. Not even gonna bother. People won't like me, right? Again, we see this a lot in the teen years. If we're gonna talk about teens, right? We see this a lot. They're very conscious about their social, the way they come across socially and their social connections. Other people are better than me, right? If you're better than me, I'm not even gonna try because you're always gonna be better than me. It's a fixed mindset. Maybe you think your opinion doesn't matter, or maybe they think I'm not enough, or how about this one? I must be perfect. I was kind of this kid, and kind of still this adult. Everything has to be perfect, right? And if I wasn't perfect, I wasn't doing it right. And that's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. And everything isn't going to be perfect. It's impossible for all of us to do everything perfectly all the time. Virginia says she has a fixed mindset when she wants her kids to do what I say because I'm frustrated. Yes, I would agree. I have that same mindset. And then there's the big danger words, I always or I never, right? Those are very definitive. Those are very, they close the statement, right? I always do it this way. I never do it that way. It doesn't leave us open for trying new things, for challenging, for thinking about things differently. Versus growth mindset, which is, I can't do this yet. Notice that those 3 letters, that 1 3-letter word changes the entire way that you think about things. I can't do this yet. It leaves a lot of possibility wide open for us to say, I'm going to try it. I can't do it yet, but I can try it. And maybe I'm not great at it at first, but with practice, I can get better, right? I was terrible at making PowerPoint presentations. Maybe you guys think I'm still not that good at it, but I was afraid to do it. And once I decided, okay, I need to learn how to do this. This is the way it is. I keep practicing. I get better. I do it faster now, right? I can't do this now, but I can learn. So teach me. Give me the info. Let me give this a shot. I'm worth trying. Or how about I need to come up with a new strategy, right? Take this back to that math, right? I didn't do well on a test. So what could I do differently next time? It's not that I can't do it. It's I need to do something differently next time so that I can succeed, right? Because this time I didn't do well, but I can work on it. I can be better, and it's okay to make mistakes. Not only is it okay to make mistakes, making mistakes mean that I'm learning. When we make mistakes, we actually learn better. We really engage then when we make mistakes, we really engage in the process of problem solving and maybe cooperation and figuring things out in a new way, which results in a great opportunity to build those neural pathways, right? You're learning something. I'm building them because I'm consciously trying something in a different way. Great. I love it. I love it, Virginia. Virginia says she's going to make this the new chart for her family. And I know I've seen, but Virginia has sent me photographs. She actually does use these charts, and I've seen them hanging in her dining room. I must always try my hardest and keep working on it, which is different than I must be perfect, right? If I've tried my hardest, I get another shot at it. If it wasn't perfect, it wasn't the best I can do, but I can always keep working on it. I can learn to do things differently. Oh my gosh, if that's not the mantra for the last year, I don't know what is, right? Haven't we all tried to figure out how to do things differently? Of course, what comes to my mind right away is being able to use Zoom and YouTube to make sure that we're using the translation services the best way that we possibly can. We have been trying to figure out how to learn to do things differently throughout the last year. And look, I think we pretty much made it happen. And then also, it's okay to ask for help. Collaboration is the way we get through life. It's working together. So sometimes we have to say, hey, I need some help. It's not a sign of weakness. Saying I need a little help with this is not weakness. That's actually strength, because we know that I need to collaborate with someone else, and I know that I can learn more if I open myself up to asking for help. And next time I can try something different, right? Next time I'll try it a little differently. Again, going back to the way we've kind of gotten this parent ed online. We kept trying different things until we found something that worked. And even every week, it's a new challenge for us because we're all learning new things, but we keep trying. We keep trying. And Virginia says, this is for us parents. You know, the secret to all of this, Virginia, and I know you get this, and I know many of you understand this, is that we have to change the way we think before we can expect our kids to change the way they think. We have to model. We have to live, we have to develop a community, a culture in our family of growth mindset. And it starts with us. Everything starts with us. And it's hard, right? It's a lot of responsibility, but we're in it for the win. Obviously, we're all here together. So I like to look at fixed mindset kind of as a straight line. I always do it this way. I can't do it that way. I'm bad at math. It'll never work. That it doesn't help us to develop any neurological pathways. All it does is keep us on this straight line. There's nowhere else to go. If I say I can't do it, there's nowhere else to go, right? It's just a straight line, not going anywhere. Versus a growth mindset, which means I think about things differently. I try new things. I say things like, I haven't done it yet, right? Which means I am building all these pathways in my brain for me to be a problem solver. And when we're a problem solver in one area of our lives, it becomes the way that we do things in all areas of our lives, right? We're problem solvers, whether it be in schoolwork, or maybe doing some riding a bike or a skateboard, or relationships. We have to be really flexible in our thinking when we're in relationship, right? It's hard. And we're going to all have these relationships our whole lives. So being able to have all kinds of different pathways, all kinds of different thought processes, all kinds of different ways to approach our problem, that's growth mindset, right? And that's what we want to instill in our kids. So what are some things that we can do to develop this growth mindset? Well, you know me, I've got a ton of them. Know that this exists, right? Start thinking about, be very aware of growth mindset. Catch yourself when you're thinking in a way that is a fixed mindset, right? Catch yourself and say, oh, wait a minute, that was kind of a fixed mindset. And then flip the script, right? Then say, all right, how do I change what the self-talk? How do I change it so that I am looking at something with a growth mindset? You want to take brain breaks? We all need a break, you guys. We all need breaks. And you know me, when I tell you brain breaks every hour, a little break, take a walk around the block, stand up and stretch, have a sip of water. That is a brain break. And we all need that so that we can refocus, regroup, change it up a little bit. Things aren't working for you, change it, right? Okay, this isn't working. So how can I do it differently? And when we do that with our family, we're modeling growth mindset. Try not to wallow when we get caught in a mistake or when we get caught in something that's really hard. It's so hard sometimes not to just wallow in it, just to sit in that malcontent that, okay, I don't like this. And so I'm going to just stay here. No, what we need to do is do our best to get out of it. Connect with our kids. That's the best way to keep our thinking, learning brain working. Say stop out loud. Often it works well when you have one of those thoughts, and when you have a thought and that you want to stop, that you don't like, that you know is fixed mindset versus growth mindset, say it out loud. Say stop. When you say it out loud, you're using more senses, which means you're going to help your brain to change a little bit more. You're going to help it develop more, the neural pathways a little bit more quickly than if you think, right? If you just think it. And then I like to flip it around and also say happy out loud. When something makes you feel happy, say happy. And then share it with someone, right? Maybe you don't have time to tell somebody the whole story. My daughter and I still do this back and forth with our text messages. If something happy happens, she'll just text me happy. And it's just nice to be able to share it. It gives me a smile. That makes her feel like she's shared, right? We feel connected to one another. And I do the same thing the other way. Celebrate mistakes. When our kids make mistakes, instead of getting upset, instead of feeling like that this is the end of the road, they'll never be able to fix it, celebrate their mistakes. Tell them this is a great opportunity to learn. I know it's hard. I'm not saying it's super easy. Take a deep breath and move on, right? Be able to say, okay, that happened. We're going to move on. I'm going to use some positive thinking, and I'm going to take that deep breath, do some breathing exercises, maybe do the grounding exercise, and then move on. And that's how we practice positive self-talk. And then teach our kids to accept challenges, right? Instead of feeling embarrassed or unsure or not comfortable trying something new, we could help our kids to learn to be comfortable accepting challenges. Turn mistakes into opportunities to learn. Help our kids to make conscious choices. We talked about this last week when we talked about, effective thinking, right? When we talk out loud, when we make conscious choices and talk them through with our kids, we're modeling the process. And then we can solve problems together. Let them be part of that problem solving process. Let them give us their ideas. Well, what do you think we could do? How can we get this done? How can we fix things? And if it doesn't work, it's okay. Be okay with imperfection. It's scary. I know, as a parent, right? I have a 24 and a 20, almost 28-year-old. And it's really hard for me as a mom personally to know that they're not perfect. I want them to be perfect. I want everything to be perfect. I want everything to be easy. I want the very, very best for them. So it's hard for me to back up and go, okay, it's not perfect, but they're making their life choices. They're making their way in the world. They're okay. They're good people. They're going to make mistakes along the road, and that's okay, right? Because what's important is that they keep trying. That perseverance is what's really important, is that they don't give up. A couple weeks ago, my son was going through a rough time, and I said, "Are you okay?" And his answer to me was, "Not right now, but I will be." What else could I want as a mom, right? What else could any of us want as parents? Not right now. I recognize it. I'm acknowledging my feelings. I'm sharing it with you, but I know I'm going to be okay because I'm going to work through this. And that's what's important, is that they try, is that they persevere. And they get that through watching us do it. I don't know that my son necessarily got that through watching me do it, because I'm not positive I was always the perfect model of perseverance in that way. But he did. He got it from all of us, right? He knew the family network. That's where he learned it. And it's okay if this feels hard. we talked about this the other day at a meeting we were having, and that parents are feeling like, "Oh, I don't want to be resilient anymore. I'm tired of being resilient. I'm tired of doing all of this and learning new things and trying to figure this out and make these big decisions." It's okay if it feels hard, because it is hard. Right? We've never done this before. We have a lot going on. We have a lot of balls in the air, right? We're juggling. As parents, especially, we're master jugglers. And it's okay that we have a lot of balls in the air at a time. But I heard this once a time ago, as long as you know which ball is the glass one at that moment, right? Which is so it's really about prioritizing. Which ball do we have to make sure doesn't hit the ground, right? So maybe the grocery, maybe we're going to just skip it and do drive-through dinner tonight. That ball can hit the ground and not break. We can pick that up and go back later. But if our kid is having a hard time, that's where we need to focus, right? Grab that glass ball and really protect it and make sure we're holding on to it and making that one doesn't hit the ground. And making sure that we are taking care of the glass ball as we're jugglers. So what are some things that we can say? Growth mindset. I know that I kind of needed a script when I first learned about mindset. I was like, oh, how do I do this? Things like great effort. You must have worked really hard. That's praising the process, right? Instead of the outcome, because it's about the process. You tried all kinds of strategies and look at you, you finally got it. That's awesome. Look how many different ways you had to try to do that and you got there. You didn't give up when it was hard. You practiced a lot, and look at that, your improvement really shows it. Or you stuck to it and now you really understand it, right? And this is where I say, okay, so these words, you don't have to use these words exactly this way, right? But incorporate them into the way you talk, incorporate them into the way you interact with your kids, right? So that you're praising that effort and the process. And then some conversation starters. We can say, what did you do today that made you think really hard? A lot of us ask our kids when they get home from school 2 questions that are pretty dangerous questions. One was, how was school today? I don't know about you guys. I used to get the word fine a lot, right? Or what did you learn at school today? I used to get the word nothing a whole bunch, right? Not great conversation starters, right? Those are not fantastic conversation starters. And then the other question that parents ask that's kind of a dangerous minefield is, do you have any homework? Well, they don't want to think about that when they just finished school, when they maybe just got home or they just signed off for their class. They need a minute to decompress the same way we need a minute to decompress, right? The end of a work day, I like to, I have a drink of water, or I go for a long walk, or I change my clothes because I want to get comfy, right? Our kids want to do that too. They need a minute. They need a brain break. They need that. So we could not put that pressure on them immediately. Give them a minute to take a deep breath. What challenge did you work on today? Think of a mistake that you made today and let's celebrate it, right? What are you struggling with? What are your strategies for figuring that out? As parents, we often want to jump in and give them the solution. Oh, okay, let me tell you how to fix that. Okay, let me tell you how to do that. We're not really giving them the opportunity to learn if we give them the answers all the time. We have to help them and help them navigate. What are we going to try next? What strategy are you going to be? What strategy can you work on next? Or what would you like to become better at? What's something you want to practice? The other thing that we know about having this can-do attitude is that mobilization is key. And what do I mean by mobilization? Actually doing something. Be a helper. Contribute, right? Whether it's a helper in your community or a helper in your home or a helper in your neighborhood, being a helper, feeling like we are doing something, we are contributing, helps us to feel that sense of agency, that sense of I have control over my immediate environment. I can contribute. I still see it. We go on our neighborhood walks. My husband and I take the dog for a walk every afternoon. And there's somebody in our neighborhood, I don't know who paints, who's been painting little rocks with cute messages or rainbows or just pretty pictures, and leaving them kind of all around the neighborhood. So as we're walking, we might see a rock that, just says, peace, or you are strong, or like I said, rainbows, and it's really, that's mobilization, right? Not complicated. It's also an activity for our kids, right? To help them stay busy, and a creative outlet for them. So there's a lot of different things that go into this, but it's so nice because they now know, okay, I'm making people feel good in the neighborhood. So that's mobilization, small examples of that. Help our kids help us in our homes, right? Give them jobs. Sometimes we feel like, oh no, their job is school and they have to just worry about that. So we'll take care of all the other stuff. They need to feel like they're contributing to the household. So giving them appropriate jobs as they grow up helps them to feel not only like they're part of the team, but like they have some control over what's going on in their environment. And we know there's a lot of research that's been coming out recently that this is a great buffer for the trauma that we're all experiencing through this pandemic. And we are all experiencing at least a little bit of trauma. So it's a great a buffer for the trauma. And then we can build a culture of confidence in our family. Competence, by instilling confidence, letting them know that you can, right? We will. We've got this. Independence. I can do things on my own. I can figure things out on my own, which builds that competence. And it also builds relatedness, which is another word for relatedness, connection. When we help them and build their independence and their competence, we are actually helping them to feel more connected to us as well. It's not that when we build independence, we're helping them to walk away from us. We're building their confidence, and we're letting them know we're your biggest cheerleader. Like I'm your mom, I'm your dad, I'm your whoever you are in that child's life, right? I am your biggest cheerleader. The sun rises and sets with you. And that relatedness is what we need to feel strong so that we can go out into the world and navigate it. Here's some resources for you. I love this growth mindset, or mindset, I should say, by Carol Dweck is an awesome read. It talks about all different kinds of relationships, and she really talks about how we can relate growth mindset to our parenting, to our relationships, to our business. So it's an awesome read, really a great read, and not a hard read, really, really good. BigLifeJournal.com is a great place to get resources on growth mindset. Lots of talking points, lots of activities that you can do with your kids to build kindness in your family, to build confidence in your family, to just build that that can do attitude. I love that. It's probably my favorite resource, really. And then Your Fantastic Elastic Brain is a book that you can read with your kids. If any of you have ever been with me in person, you know that I try to hand this book out like it's candy, because it's such a great book to have, and to have your kids read over and over often, right? So they're learning the parts of the brain. They're learning how they can control how their brain grows and develops and is wired. And then, as always, relationship and connection are key. We do not want to let a problem be more important than the person, right? Maybe we've got an issue, we've got something we've got to deal with, but the most important thing is, how are you feeling about it, and how can we get your needs met around this issue? We can solve the problem together, but we can't let that be more important than a person, than our kids, than that connection. That relationship and connection has to be our top priority all the time. Then look, it's okay to apologize. A lot of us were raised in families where our adults did not apologize to us, right? It was a sign of weakness. We were there. You're the kids. I'm the grown up, and what I say goes, and what I did, I stand by, and I'm not going to come back and tell you that I'm sorry. It's a sign of weakness, and I'm here to tell you today that it's not. When we apologize to our kids, we develop connection, right? We model that this is what we do when we make a mistake. We go back and we say, I'm sorry, I kind of messed that up. Can I have another chance? Can we talk about it? Can I try again? I'll work harder on it next time. right? Virginia says, I am a master at it. She makes a lot of mistakes too. Yay, we're not alone. One of my favorite authors and researchers is Tina Payne Bryson. And she says that even the very best parents, only get it right about 30% of the time. That's not much, right? 30%. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm halfway there. I don't know. But it's not about getting it right all the time. It's about going back and connecting. It's about making sure we take responsibility when we make a mistake and that we're connecting with our kids and modeling that kind of behavior. It is never too late to repair a relationship. If you feel like there's something that happened 5 years ago and you feel like it's really kind of weighing on you and you know you made that mistake or you just realized that what you did was a mistake, it's never too late to go back and say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I was talking to a friend the other day and she was saying that when her children are adults now, and she said when her son was young, he grew his hair long and she hated it. She just didn't like it. And she said she gave him a really hard time about his hair. And now she looks back on that and thinks, oh my gosh, it was just hair. And I feel really bad about it. So I asked her, I said, have you ever told him that? And so she was like, no, but I think I will. I haven't talked to her yet to see how it went, but it's never too late. If something's bothering you and you feel like you made an error in judgment or you made a mistake, go back and say, you know what, I kind of feel like this was a mistake and I want to talk about it. It develops relationship. It gives you an opportunity to talk, to connect, right? That I want to make sure that I remind you of is that, and I know this won't translate perfectly well, is halt. Look behind the behavior at halt. We cannot connect with our kids. We cannot problem solve with our kids if either of us is hungry, right? If you're hungry, I'm grouchy when I'm hungry. I don't know about you guys. Hangry's a thing. My son gets really grouchy when he's hungry too. So if either of you is feeling hungry, you're not gonna be able to get into your thinking, learning, problem solving brain. Angry. If you're feeling angry, it's not the time to make big decisions. It's not the time to problem solve. We have to give it a few minutes to let that kind of relax, right? To move past that until we're back online, right? Till the internet of our brain is back and connected completely again so that we can problem solve. The next one is, oh my gosh, lonely. If you're feeling lonely, which really at this point, what I always think of lonely is connected, right? If you don't feel connected, if you feel lonely, if you feel like you don't have anybody, if you feel like you don't have support, you're not going to be able to get to your thinking, learning brain. It's not the time to solve problems. It's not the time. That's when it's the time to connect. And the last one is tired. At the end of my day, when I'm done, I'm done. And it's not necessarily, I don't want to have conversation. I don't want to figure out stuff. If I'm tired, done. And if our kids are tired, how many of you have had a kid that's really tired in the evening and they kind of melt down? We call it the witching hour, some of us, right? That time of day when everybody's tired, but we still have to get through dinner and maybe some homework and the bedtime routine. That's not the time to like problem solve or talk about big topics. Let's just get some rest and try again in the morning. So keep those things in mind, right? When you approach a behavior. All right, let's do a mindfulness exercise. Today we're going to do your favorite color. And after the exercise, we can do some talking, or you guys can ask questions. So get comfy in your chair or seat, wherever you're sitting, or maybe you're standing. That's okay. You don't have to change that up. Wherever you are, kind of just take note of your body. Like where are you? What do you feel? Do you feel like right now my feet are on the floor and it's a little cold, right? So just I'm going to stop talking for a second so you guys can just take notice of your body. No judgment. Whatever you're feeling is fine. Okay, and now I want you to think of your favorite color. What's your favorite color? Maybe it's blue or orange or purple or red, maybe another color. What's your favorite color? Now I want you to imagine a little ball of your favorite color somewhere inside your body. Just a little ball. Imagine it somewhere inside your body. Maybe it's up here where your heart is. Maybe it's in your belly. Maybe it's balanced on top of your head. But imagine it somewhere. And then take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in through your nose, imagine the ball is getting bigger and bigger until it takes over your whole body. Big breath in. And out. Take another big deep breath in and imagine that everything all around you is your favorite color. And it feels really warm and really good. Now take one more long, slow breath in through your nose. Now let it all the way out. One more time. Big, long, slow breath in through your nose. And as you let it out this time, I want you to hear it. And that is a great mindfulness exercise that comes from the book Breathe Like a Bear by Kira Wiley, available in bookstores near you, Amazon, wherever else you buy books. But yeah, great one. So, and this is made for children, and we just did this, right, as adults. It's a great exercise to kind of just focus, to and to evoke positive, happy thoughts, right? When you think of your favorite color, it should make you happy. Yesterday I did this, or a couple days ago I did this with a group, and one of the participants said, when doing that exercise, I discovered that my favorite color is actually orange. Like, I love orange right now. Isn't that great? So when you think about things differently, it gives you the opportunity to think about things differently. Okay, questions, thoughts, comments, conversations? What did you learn? What's one thing you're going to take with you as we go off to the weekend? Go ahead, Virginia.
These workshops are amazing, because sometimes we want to fix behaviors with our children, but it's not about them. It's us. How we're feeling and our abilities to be in peace with what it is. And you said something very important. We want our children to be perfect. And it's true. And how can we expect our children to try and to accept mistakes when we have this thought? And it's just something for us as parents to learn, and to take care of us, and to see what is our own perception, and our expectations sometimes are totally wrong based on how we grew up. Yeah. So I love your workshops, because they truly make me think and reflect. And like you said, it's like I'm always trying new things. And my husband is just having fun with me, because trying something new. I always have something posted,
Yes, you do.
And yes, I keep changing, but thank you so much. I just wanted to say that.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate you sharing that. It really makes me feel good that I'm at least making a difference for you. And I will say that the hardest thing I think that we do as parents is to kind of adjust our dreams and hopes, right, that we have for our kids to what their dreams and hopes are for themselves, right? That's really hard to do. When we're waiting on our babies, however we got them, whether it was whether they're our biological children or they came to us some other way, we have these dreams and expectations for them. And as we move through life, they develop their own dreams and expectations, and they may not match up exactly with ours, right? And that, I think, is the hardest part, is being able to say, okay, I'm going to love and support you while you become you, and not this vision that I had of a daughter or a son, right? It's really hard to do. It's probably one of the hardest things. One of the hardest things. All right. Anybody else have anything? Thoughts, questions? Okay. Then I think we will move on with our day. Happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Gabby, for interpreting, and Jeff for facilitating the all of the technology. Couldn't do it without him. He's pretty amazing.